I'm Julie Baumgardner, and this is the Marriage on the Daily podcast, the podcast designed to give you tools and encouragement to help you do married well on the daily. Because after all, it isn't the grand gestures that make or break your marriage. It's actually what you do or don't do on the daily that either builds a strong foundation or chips away at your core. You can do this, and I'm here to help. Welcome to the Marriage on the Daily podcast. I'm your host, Julie Baumgardner, and I have a surprise guest with me today. This is my sweet husband, Jay.
37 years.
37 years.
And it feels like 10 minutes.
Underwater.
That's right.
Makes me say
I do make her say that. So welcome to her world with me.
That's right. Yes. I've told y'all a lot about Jay, and people have been like, we don't think he exists because he hasn't been on a podcast. And so I asked him.
There's a reason for that, isn't it?
Well, that is true. Every day is an adventure with Jay. It is not dull, which is part of the reason that we thought it would be fun to have a conversation together, because there are just so many things looking back over 37 years that we did not know when we got married.
And we definitely came from different camps.
For sure. So what was your camp like?
My camp was not ever seeing my mom and dad together. I have very few memories of them ever being together before they divorced at age 9. And my mother, high educated lady, and I stayed with her during the week, and it was very regimented. But on the weekends with my father, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And I could do just about anything I wanted to. And it was that way until my mother remarried and moved to New Orleans, and I ended up moving in with an aunt and uncle. And it wasn't a fun place to be. Alcoholism on that side of the family runs very deep and wide. And when they get mad, they got violent. And I'd never seen my mom and dad my biological mom and dad, any kind of argument, any discussion of any sort. And so I just thought anytime you mention conflict, it was a very evil, ugly thing. And I'm okay with an argument or a disagreement, but that word conflict really, when we got married, and Julie goes, well, it's okay to have conflict. No, it's not. So I brought that to the marriage immediately, and but with good intentions.
With good intentions, yeah. And I mean, I think that that's really important for us to talk about, because Jay did come from a really different environment. I can remember him telling me stories about actually being out in a fishing boat, at 10 o'clock at night.
In the middle of the river by myself.
By himself, yeah. And I'm just like, I do not know that world.
And the parents they had no idea where I was.
Yeah.
So,
but that was after your parents' divorce, right?
Yes.
And I came from a home that was very structured. You've heard me talk about my mom had lots of rules, and I couldn't fathom growing up without rules and expectations. And so when we got married, I really wasn't afraid of conflict. I could see that something was wrong just in Jay's face, and I would approach him and say, hey, what's wrong? He would say nothing, and I would start following him around the house saying, no, I can see it on your face. I can tell something's wrong. And I'm an external processor, so I just want to get it out on the table so that it can be dealt with, and then we can move on. Jay, on the other hand,
I'm an internal processor. I'm an external type person, extrovert, but I have to feel my way through it. And because I had never really had the voice in understanding what it means to find myself, she would say things and I literally did not know. And I had to explore a lot of things to find reason to have conversation other than, I don't know. Yes, no, I don't know. That was kind of.
Well, you had to really go off and think and then come back and tell me what you thought.
And so, right? And if I had time to do that, and what I found out about myself, if I knew the subject matter, I felt comfortable in the conversation.
Yes.
If I did not understand how I was feeling or emotionally or what did I think about something, I don't know, it would be okay for me to kind of go educate myself on a certain subject and come back and or learned something, and then I felt better in a conversation, and I still do that today.
Yes. But that was a really important thing that we learned about each other, is that I needed to stop pursuing him to figure out what was wrong and let him think about it and then come back and tell me.
But the key was to really give her my word that I would come back.
For sure. Yes.
And not go into a hole and forget about it and put
Yep.
it in the man cave. You go,
And not come
I
back.
hadn't thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe we ought to. It's kind of important to you, and
Yes.
if it is, I need to learn to engage in that. I still have to push myself to do that.
And I think that goes both ways. If it's important to you or important to me, it's important to us. And trying to figure that out has been helpful. I think another thing that has been interesting to work through is just that we are really different. I am a planner. I am organized. I do like to think things through. And Jay is funny all the time and can be spontaneous.
Let's say I have a bandwidth of organizational and structure
That's true.
that gets filled up very quickly.
Yes.
And then when I get home, it's like, I'm done. Please, let's figure this one out without having to make it a.
Okay, I think another thing that we really had to think about after we got married was leveraging our differences and figuring out how to make them work for us in our marriage. Jay is spontaneous, and he's really fast on his feet, and he can be very funny. And I tend to be more serious and more organized, and so just trying to figure out how do we think about those things in ways that are healthy for our marriage and don't take away from the personality of our usness.
I think, and I'm very good at work and I get things done and it's organized there. But when I'm at home, I feel like that tank in me that is full or empty, and I'm like, I cannot do anymore. And Julie, that feeds her soul, and that is part of her spiritual gift to really understand that. And so, for her to want to plan and do these things, and I'm like, okay, can we do it when I really have the energy to do it? And that's really been interesting. When do we have the right kind of energy to do some of these things versus when you're down and I'm up, or vice versa? How do we handle that? And we've learned to dance with that better over the years. We don't do it perfectly, but it's much, much better.
Yeah. Well, I would say that we've kind of figured out what each other's strengths are, and we work in that arena.
Mhm.
So Jay is fantastic at math. He is fantastic at money, and he is really good at organizing certain things. And so we've just kind of learned to toss to each other and let each other work out of our strengths versus
Weakness is not necessarily, it's just something, a definition for weakness, in my opinion, is, as a lot of times, these are things that you just don't like to do.
right.
It's not that you can't
Can't
do them. And sometimes you may be really good in your weakness, but you do want to have a tendency to work through your strengths as much as possible.
Yes.
So if we need something organized, it's real easy to let Julie do these things. And if we need something done with a little bit of analytical background, I can come to a decision through finance and math and economics pretty quickly, and storytelling or whatever, but we can come to dance in certain things.
Yes.
And not feel like we're stepping on each other's toes all the time.
Right. Which I love.
Yeah. And there have been times that I want to be playful, and I've stepped on her toes, and I thought I was being playful, and it was this situation was a big winner for me. And she goes, well, and she was madder than a hornet at me. And I was literally going, this is fun. It didn't really matter at that time. I'd really stepped on her toes and did not know it.
That's right. Yep. Well, speaking of conflict,
Conflict In our family, we didn't see anything. I literally have so few memories of mom and dad. And so I was with my mother a lot and dad on athletic days.
Yeah.
And I never saw them have any kind of conflict.
Yeah.
Except when I moved in with the aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
And their definition of conflict was violence.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, we talked about that
Right.
a little bit, but I think the thing that has been helpful for us is to recognize, one, that I definitely have a point in time where my brain just kind of isn't functioning on all cylinders, if you will.
In the evening,
And
late.
That's right.
After 9 o'clock, forget it.
And so it wasn't good for us to have intense conversations or try to resolve something in the evening. It was better for us to actually acknowledge, hey, there's something going on, and we know that we need to address this, but right now is not the best time. We know that we're not going to end well if we do that. So it would be better to state a time the next day that we're going to have the conversation than to try and hash through it and just make things worse, which we did plenty of times, and it just wasn't fruitful at all.
Yeah, especially in our first 5 to 7 years, it wasn't like the intention was not to dive down and spin out of control, but but we did some.
Yes,
and
we did.
Now it's kind of like, are we okay? Are we out of the anger mode, and can we start listening to each other through humility, where it says humility precedes a man of honor?
Yes.
Those kind of verses, and how you put that scripture in place that really can speak to me.
Yeah.
And that's very important to make sure that, I'm not going to go to bed angry. We will not have certain solutions to an issue, depending on aging parents and work situations and financial, whatever. Those things may take several days or weeks to figure out, but we don't have to say we've got to not be mad and have it figured out before we go to bed. That's woo.
Yeah. Well, and just to give you an idea, so the thing that Joe was talking about a few minutes ago when he said that he thought he had done great and I was very mad at him, we were actually sitting in front of a group of couples who were preparing for marriage, and we had talked around all kinds of topics, and we had actually done this numerous times in front of couples preparing for marriage. But this particular time, someone asked a question about money, and I proceeded to share that when I got married to Jay, I had a lot of student loan debt. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot, because I put myself through college. And I did not keep that a secret. I was very forthright with the fact that I had the debt. So we were kind of talking that through, and Jay pipes up in front of everybody and says,
let's tell the real story.
Wait a minute.
So you see, this is where we get, no, but this thing, she's up there and she starts saying, and Jay is married. I married a guy, and everybody want to know, did he take you to the Crystal or the White Castle for your first date? And she says that. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is playful. And so I go and I start doing some other things. And I said, yeah, but I did pay off a couple of your debt things and maybe your car payments and before we got married. And so she turned around and looked at me like, I can't believe you went there. And I thought she was just engaging.
I was engaging for sure.
So all the people were laughing and going on. And that just fed me more. And we got in the car. She was not laughing.
Well, he said, I thought that went great.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing and having a good time. And I turned to him and I said, that did not go great. And he was really shocked. And
yes, I was totally shocked, and I apologized at that point.
Yeah.
Not knowing that when you have certain personality types that have certain things, you do not embarrass them in front of crowds. And me, I could care less. People are always going at me, and it's just fun time for all.
But here's the thing I think we learned. And if that had been 5 years earlier in our marriage, we would have gotten in the car. I would have been silent. It would have been a silent drive home. If he had asked me if I was okay, I would have said, I'm fine. And
guys, when you hear the word "I'm fine," or What's the problem? Nothing at that point.
Yeah.
Don't let her around any
Yes.
kind of sharp objects, if you know what I mean.
So we would have been apart for the rest of the day because I would have made sure that I wasn't around him. But what was different is that I was able to say my feelings were really hurt and I was embarrassed. And I felt like we actually had worked together as a team to pay off that debt. It wasn't just something that you just did. We decided together how we were going to figure that out and problem solve it. And so we
No,
you, we figured it out together. So we had that conversation in the car. And by the time we got home, we were good. And we
Yeah, and
didn't
I
spend the
don't
rest
thi-
of the day quiet.
it sank me to a lower point in my marriage to realize that I really need to be careful about what I say about her in public as compared to what I say about me in public. And my old high school buddies or something like that were liable to say just about anything, and we're all laughing because there is a connection and a security within certain groups.
Yes, that is true.
And so that's a different style, but I guess I really did. I'm apologizing. I went over the line and didn't even know it.
But we figured it out and we didn't let it derail the whole entire day. And so we both said we were proud of that because that was massive improvement. I do have to say that I think I've come a long way. Not very long ago, we were out to eat for dinner and Jay asked if we could stop by the car wash to clean up his car. And I was like, no problem. We go to the car wash, we get through the car wash, and he says, I want to vacuum out the car. So he starts vacuuming out the car. He comes over to my side where I'm just minding my own business. And he says, hey, do you mind getting out for a second so I can vacuum the passenger side? I get out, and y'all, I mean, in one motion, I am getting out, and at the same time, my dress is getting sucked up in the vacuum cleaner at the car wash, and there's a lot of people there.
She showed a little bit more leg than she wanted to, I think, that day. And it was really not planned. She thinks it was planned.
Totally.
But now that I've done it one time, she refuses to go back to me
Right.
to the car
mean,
wash
I learned my lesson.
for her own
Yes.
sanity.
But there was a day where I would have gotten really mad. And again, it would have been the silent treatment on the way home. And I just laughed because
She laughed.
It was
And I
it
will
was
say, it was
funny.
not planned, but I'll take credit for it. Because it was
Of
so
course you
fun.
will.
It was really
It
good.
was
And,
funny. Yes.
and if anybody else comes with me, I'll do the same thing with this from
Shame.
now on.
No.
Not the dress.
No.
No, sorry.
Thank you. Okay.
That's
so
not copyrighted.
conflict has been a thing for us that we have had to work on throughout the duration of our marriage, and we still can get sideways with each other sometimes. The other night, Jay came in and he asked me a question, and I took it as a yes or no question. And so I was very fast in my response with no,
Yeah.
which made his head spin a little bit. But you came back
But
later.
my question should have had 2 or 3 other parts to it. Well, here I'm talking to a lady who processes out loud very cleanly, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm asking. So you can see where that goes.
But he came back to me
But
later.
he came back and I said, I needed to add 2 or 3 pieces to that because the timelines and everything else that I was talking about, we could be in control of those. We were not going to be at somebody else's.
Yes.
But
what you said to me
decisions.
was, I should have come to you and said, can we have a discussion about? And I think we would have landed in a really different place. And I said, yes, I 100% agree. Because I thought you were asking me a yes or no question.
Yeah, so truly, that was 2 days ago.
So we're
Hello.
still learning and continuing to grow together, which is the key. So let's talk about praying together, because that is something that we saw, not our own parents, but we had couples in our life early on in our marriage. And we watched them pray together. They talked with us about the impact of praying together. And so it was something that, I wouldn't say like we were super spiritually mature, deep people when we got married. I would say Jay was ahead of me on his spiritual journey when we got married. But the praying together thing, um, we did start doing that early
We
on.
prayed at meals, no problem.
Right.
But to come at the end of the day or sometime in the morning and go, let me hold your hand.
Yeah.
And do this kind of stuff. And I was kind of like, I read, I have my quiet time.
Yes.
But that was not just a natural thing for me. And again, if you look at my background and Julie's background, we I don't know, your mom and dad went to church and supposedly did all these things, but I don't think they ever prayed together.
Well, I don't know if they did or not, but I didn't really see them pray together. Right. We for sure prayed over meals. But our point is that in learning how to pray together, sometimes the prayers were really short.
Yeah.
Other times, I can remember a time when I was really sick. Our daughter Ashley was really sick. Jay had been on the road and he came home late one night. The next day, he comes, I'm already up. Ashley's been fed, but we're both not doing well. And he comes out into the family room and I'm a little irritated because I want him to step up his game because I'm tired and I'm not feeling well. And I can tell that he is not doing well, like extremely stressed out.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and there were all these different areas of the Southeast of which I was responsible for
work.
And 2 or 3 things were hitting at the same time, and I did not know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And instead of her coming at me and attacking me and telling me I need to get my ducks in a row.
Can I just say that I had been having that conversation in my head about how I was going to go and help him understand what he needed to be doing differently. And I think it really was the Holy Spirit that was like, that is not what you need to do. This is not what he needs right now, and it is not what you need. And so
yeah, she came in and grabbed my hand and she goes, I really think I need to pray for you. And after that, I lost it, man. I was like covered up. I didn't know. I was working these 16-hour days and they were sick and I didn't know what to do. And there I go. If I don't know how to do something, I can really see myself as unworthy.
Yeah.
And I get confused. And so those are kind of my 2 words that I've learned that that's not really the truth.
Yeah.
But if I identify with that, and I did probably back in that early part of our marriage, what do I do with that? And I didn't know what to do. And so then I started asking for help.
Yeah.
And she helped me and I was able to get so much stuff done. And of all things, that solution, when I called the company, they said, we've just been asking and waiting. No, we have been waiting for you to call and ask for help.
Yeah.
And I went, there's a 3-letter word for that. Duh.
But I think the lesson for me there was my initial thought was, I'm going to let him have it, both barrels.
But humility came into play.
And he started sobbing when I started praying for him. And that was really a lesson for me. That was a very pivotal moment because it made me realize that, he comes across as the tough guy a lot, and he wants to be our provider and my protector. And there are moments when he's not feeling strong and he's not feeling capable, and me attacking him just makes that more so. So I was really grateful to the Lord for shutting my mouth in one way and opening it in a different way that helped us to be in a different place as a couple. And
well, when our flesh is really roaring, how do you find some space in there to let God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit, to come in and fill that before you start opening your mouth? Because we know what the tongue does.
Oh yeah,
it gives life or death.
Yes.
And
which is the power of prayer. I must say that if you want to know your spouse's heart, spend time in prayer together. Ask them how you can pray for them. And And when they tell you pray for those things, I think that's been one of the most meaningful and powerful parts of our marriage is really learning. We don't have to pray eloquent prayers. That's not what God's looking for. We don't even have to pray long prayers. It's more just a Lord, protect my spouse.
Mm.
And for the things that
It honors God and it
yeah,
honors each other. And when you can start putting that into the equation, it really does die down on some of the other issues
yes,
that seem to be hot in the moment. And
yeah,
they really
yes,
are not as hot as we know,
yes,
as we think
think
they
they
are.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, um, if you listen to an earlier video, you know that Jay had emergency brain surgery in our 8th year of marriage. And that was crazy. I mean, he
Didn't
came
work out, did it? No.
he, like I said, Mr. Spontaneous. He came in with a really bad headache and said he thought his head was about to explode. And
From
I,
knowledge.
I, I just thought that he had a really bad headache, but it turned out that he had a tumor in the third ventricle of his brain, which is where spinal fluid flows out of your brain. And so,
Dead center of your brain.
yes, his brain really was about to explode. And when I took him to the doctor, all of this unfolded just over a couple of days. But when I got him to the neurologist and the neurologist was looking at the MRI, he said to me, "I understand why your husband is in so much pain because this tumor has dammed up all of the spinal fluid that's supposed to be flowing out of his brain, and so it really is dammed up in his head and it is about to explode. So we're going to have emergency surgery." And then he looked at me and he said, "When you took your husband to the emergency room, did they talk to you about doing a spinal tap?" And I said, "Yes." And his response to me was, "You need to be very thankful that they didn't do that because they would have killed your husband instantly."
Yeah, when they would pull the
Fluid
needle
out.
and the fluid off the spine, it would have sucked the tumor straight
Would have
down
made it
and
collapse.
collapsed the brain
Yeah.
in less than 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
obviously they didn't do that, and they went in and did the main surgery. And
But my point is that when all of that was going on, I wasn't doing well. And here's Jay, who can hardly talk because the pain is very bad. He's not walking. And I go to see him to say goodnight. And he's been admitted to the hospital. And so he's in neurosurgical intensive care at this point. And he can tell that I'm not doing well. And he looks at me and he grabs me by the collar of my shirt and pulls me really close to him. And he whispers to me and he says, "Look, we have said that we are building our marriage on a foundation that we believe in God. And we either do or we don't. And I mean, I'm choosing to believe that even if the Lord doesn't let me live through this surgery, you will be okay." And then you quoted scripture to
yeah,
me.
so you go through things, and you're thank God you can bring those scriptures out that mean so much to you at different times, and they're applicable. So this one comes from Philippians 4, 6, and 7. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and let the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, protect your heart and mind in Christ Jesus." So when I can find things that will stick like that and land,
Yeah.
and I said, we're gonna live through this, and what's the worst thing that is gonna happen? I'll die and go to heaven. I mean, I remember saying that,
You did. You did.
but
But
praise God that there's opportunities to learn and know those Romans 8:28 moments are really alive every day,
yeah.
and we have and we don't have all the solutions, but we know how to find things to apply to our life to help us get through it.
And we prayed before I left
Oh,
you
yeah.
that night. And that just hit me. here we had been building a life together. We had a 4-year-old child, and both of us had careers that were thriving. We thought we had the world by the tail. And then this happens, and I was just like, well, Lord, what is this? And when Jay quoted the scripture and we prayed together, there were so many things that kind of gelled for me in that moment. Um, but I think the thing that I took away was that um, there are lots of things that I can focus on, that I can choose to focus on, and I can make very significant in my life. But when it came down to that moment, and I realized that after the next day, I could potentially be doing life as a single parent, uh, everything changed. And I was very thankful that we had the foundation of faith. I was very thankful that we had people in our life who were modeling what it looked like to see each other through the eyes of Christ and the importance of prayer together, praying for each other.
It was multi-generational. We had the younger ones, but we had people that were 30 and 40 years old or that have really been doing a lot of life with us. And not every day is going to be a mountaintop experience, but where you learn everything down in the valley.
Yeah.
And so when you have those opportunities to make that to be part of your story and you lean into that into your story, the difference maker that it makes is life-changing.
Well, it definitely set us on a trajectory of making some decisions about what are our priorities and deciding there are certain things that it honestly isn't worth getting in an argument over. So I would say to you, prayer is foundational, and you don't have to be an expert at it because you already are. You just need to talk to God. And I want to strongly encourage you to do that. It has been absolutely monumental in our marriage. And there's plenty of research that shows that couples who pray together, they do have less conflict. They are better at parenting together, better at communication, more lovemaking. In fact, they talk about all these different things, and the thing that they talk about that I think is most powerful is that conversations around divorce plummet to zero. So,
considering what we've seen in our family,
I'm not interested in that at all. Okay, so let's spend a little time talking about making decisions, because we've had to make some hard decisions.
Yes, and so when we got married, I told her that I would make all the hard decisions, and you know what? In our 37 years, they must have been all easy because I've never had to make a decision in my life.
Really?
Okay, when I hear the word "really," that's when I know I'm pushing the button.
Yeah, he's crossing the line.
No, but right there, there are so many different ways to make decisions. But I will say one thing: if we have major decisions, it's not about the color of the flowers or the color of the kitchen. For us, that may be a real deal for
some
somebody.
people. Yep.
But for us, that's not. But when we really have a serious decision, if we're not together, if we're at odds and we're trying to figure it out until we can find peace about it, when we both have peace, that's when we can go, now we can move.
Yeah.
That's been probably the biggest learning curve. And I don't think I knew how to say that exactly until a couple of years ago. But we were doing it. It wasn't like I was going to go, it was my way or the highway. And you were the same. You showed me a lot of grace when I was trying to figure out where you were.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think what we have learned together is that, one, all these big decisions, I mean, we've had unexpected job loss. We've had parents who've passed away, and we've needed to take care of all of the things surrounding that.
Executorship, everything you can imagine.
My mom had dementia, which was very difficult to deal with. There've just been a lot of things. And I think the thing that we have realized is, one, prayer first. I mean, really going to the Lord and asking him for guidance on how to deal with this. And then secondly, as Jay said, we don't move until we both feel like there's a green light. And sometimes that's been really frustrating because there's been a decision that we wanted to make, but we weren't in congruence, if you will.
Yeah, and there's usually always at least one of those things that that may be really big, but it's with us, it's not the color of a room or whatever, but it might be.
It could be about money.
Yeah.
It could be about spending money.
Yeah.
It could absolutely be. I mean, we've had some really big decisions to make. And me being so safety oriented, and Jay also, security is a big deal for him. We come at things differently. Ultimately, though, we get to a place where we both feel like, yes, this is the way forward. And I think what's been cool about that is that we haven't looked back and said, well, it's your fault because we weren't in agreement about that.
And sometimes there have been things that we don't necessarily be 100% in, but somebody may be more of an expert in the area.
Yep.
And so if we have to do something and make a move, who has the most experience and have we really, got a wise counsel on the outside, and we go, I think this is what we need to do. And I think we've done that a couple of times, but not often. We don't have that many decisions that it feels like it's life or death, or we're going to go in the money pit, or so we've been very blessed in many ways to wait.
Well, and I also think we have learned what it looks like and feels like to be respectful of each other. And so we aren't trouncing on each other's hearts when we're making decisions or we're having conversations around things. Your marriage, the goal is for your marriage to be the safest place on earth. That you can talk about hard things, and I can know that Jay is not going to look at me and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And also for women to understand their husbands, they may be a tough bull out in the workplace and all that, but in general with their spouses, they don't need somebody to come at them with a tone of voice that almost sounds like a child speaking to a child. Help us to understand what we might be trying to process. Most men are not out loud processors. They have time to think about it. And so when we do have these things that are going on, it helps me to know that she is respecting me. And Ephesians 5, where it says, husbands, love your wives and wives respect your husbands. That is so crucial to understand how to get there. And I think the biggest word is, how do I honor Julie in all this? Yeah, I want to respect her, but I want to honor her. That if we get to a point, I don't do this well all the time, and she's got plenty of examples. But at the same time, I'm so better now than I was 37 years ago.
That's true. Yes.
So we're all on this journey going, am I a little bit better today than I was last year?
Well, that actually makes me think about, I think one of the most honoring moments that I've experienced in our marriage was when I was leading a nonprofit that really became a national model for the country. I was traveling a lot and doing a tremendous amount of speaking and training, and a gentleman from another ministry came up to Jay and said, what do you think about your wife being out there as the president and CEO and leading this organization?
She's getting all the attention and you're not.
And what was your response?
My response was, my job as a husband is to make sure that my wife is equipped to take care of the family. And on top of that, what she's doing, she is honoring and teaching so many people that I've given her back to God to let her fly and be free. Now, if there had been any problem with this and with our daughter, that would have been priority one. And we had that conversation about the whole thing. And what did you tell me many times about if I was out taking care of all the rest of the country?
Yeah. Well, we talked about I said to him I really wanted to be accountable because we were all about strengthening marriages and families, and I said it would be just like the evil one to lead me to believe that it would be more important for me to spend my time helping everybody else to have a strong marriage and family than to pay attention to my own, and I really wanted accountability for that because I wanted to make sure that as a team, we were together parenting Ashley and that our marriage was strong, that we were taking care of it and nurturing it. But I think the thing that was so honoring in that situation was that what I heard him say was, this is what Julie is purposed for. This is how God has made her, and it is her passion. And I, as her husband, it is my job to help her be all that God has called her to be. And I couldn't have loved him any more in that moment because I feel like that's what we're both called to. I'm called to that for him, to help him be all that God has purposed him to be, and vice versa.
And so when you look at the strengths and all that, if you have these skills to move something like that, and if I'm doing what I need to do and I know what my strengths are and I'm spiritual gifts and also what my natural gifts are, and it says each of you should use whatever gift you have received as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Your giftedness, that's natural and your spiritual. And I will say, how do you do that and honor God
Yeah.
through that and know your spouse? As Jerry Maguire said, you completely, I don't think so, but I do know this.
Yeah.
When we're in unity,
Yeah.
we are one, and God's showing up and uses us in different areas of our lives in different arenas. It's really cool. And then we do things together as well. It's not like we don't have moments where we really intersect and really get to do things that we dreamed of.
Right. And I think you jokingly said you complete me, but I mean, I think that that has been something we have learned is that he does not complete me. The only person who completes me is the Lord. And to put that kind of pressure on Jay is going to lead to a lot of disappointment in my life. And so if we could leave you with anything, it would be that your vertical relationship with the Lord is vital to this horizontal relationship with your spouse. And for me to be able to see Jay through the eyes of Christ, I need to make sure that I am growing in my relationship with the Lord and that I am really paying attention to what he is teaching me about Jay. 37 years in, I'm still curious and I'm still wanting to learn about Jay. And I would say that you do the same with me. Would you agree?
Yes, dear. See, that's
Okay,
when
I
you
think
really
that
know
that's
you hit. But the interesting thing to know that God's got a plan for your life. Will you slow down enough to find it and find it with your mate? Find it in such a way that you know you can live this abundant life, and it's going to be different from your spouse's. And then there'll be times where you do things together.
Yeah.
But it's what we call your calling. It's not hard to find. If you chase God, he'll let you find it every time.
Yes.
With your spouse.
Yes. Yes. So now you have experienced Jay and us together.
And I apologize up front for next time.
I thank you for listening. And if you have appreciated this episode, I wish that you would share it with your friends and encourage them to subscribe to Marriage on the Daily on YouTube and help us grow the podcast. You can check out more resources and updates on marriageonthedaily.com. And until next time, remember, it's the little things that matter on the daily in your marriage.